It's time now for the latest news on what's hot and what's not in the world of technology with Matthew Dickerson on Tech Talk. Here on DCFM 88.9.
You're on DCFM 88.9. I have got Matthew Dickerson in the studio to give us the Tech Talk. How are you today?
Yeah, good, thanks, Meg. Great to hear that intro coming through as well.
I know. I didn't expect that voice. That was a little bit intimidating.
It's pretty groovy, actually. DCFM did that up for me. It was very kind.
You've got your own intro. I don't even have my own intro.
Oh, no.
I might
You've got to work on that.
I might have to get one. We may as well just get straight on into it.
Sure.
First question. I'll kick it off. Could AI be used to sniff the freshness of meat?
Well, there's some researchers in Singapore, and they've done some work with some researchers out of China and here in Australia at Monash University, and they're working on exactly that. Our noses, Meg, actually pick up off meat, and so we can smell some meat that's off straight away. And so we smell that and we go, well, I'm not going to cook that, not going to have that for dinner, I'll throw that out straight away. But there's a time period between when we buy the meat and when it's so off that we go, this is disgusting, I'm going to throw it out, where it's still safe to eat, but it's got a few odours there. And so what they've actually developed is a little barcode, a coloured barcode, and they stick that in the meat packaging, and the colours change slowly on that. And of course, you need to have a smartphone to make it work properly. You pull out your smartphone, you scan that barcode, and it will tell you the state of decay of that meat. Now, the researchers hope that they will save huge amounts of food, because at the moment in Australia alone, we waste about 7.3 million tonnes of food, about $20 billion it costs us in the economy, and about 5% of our greenhouse gases we produce are produced in food wastage. So the ultimate aim from these researchers is really to get to that point where we're not wasting so much food. They're focusing on meat. There's other food that we waste as well, but they're focusing on meat at this stage. But it's quite clever to have that idea of having a little barcode stuck in the meat packaging. Hopefully you wouldn't use it while it's on the supermarket shelves. Hopefully you wait till you get home. It's not going off on the supermarket shelves, hopefully. But it's that tricky one when you pull a bit of meat out and you go, oh, I bought it last week. Oh, I should. And normally you err on the side of, I'll throw it out. But this would allow you to actually have an accurate indication of how off that meat was using fantastic technology.
That sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
That would be useful. It does make me a little bit upset, the amount of food that we do throw away.
Yeah, exactly right. And look, I had a classic this morning. My daughter pulled out the milk, poured it on a porridge, and she says, oh, the use-by date was yesterday. Is it safe to use? And I went, oh, I guess so. So it's that sort of thing where sometimes you just err on the side of being conservative, or maybe you do use it and just take a risk, but this would give you an accurate indication. They'll develop it for meat. I'm sure they'll start to develop the same technology for other foodstuffs so that we try and reduce that wastage.
Technology, hey?
Yeah, exactly right.
You can do anything.
Just about.
Now, if you are someone who smashes buttons on your gaming console, well, then that might be useful to keep the console running. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so at the moment, you're a bit younger than I am, but back when I was at school, there used to be these little calculators that had little solar panels on top, and no one could ever get them to work because the solar panel had to be in direct sunlight and it could handle about 3 digits on there before it finally died. And so we went, yeah, that's a nice gimmick, but it doesn't really work. Some producers have actually created a gaming console, like a Game Boy sort of concept, and the idea is that you can run it, but it's not enough power from the light or sun, so when you actually smash the buttons on there, as you get more and more into the game and you're trying to get through various sections and you're working away, all that activity on those buttons actually generates small amounts of electricity. So a combination of solar panels on the Game Boy and smashing of the buttons actually generates enough power to run. There's no batteries included. There's no batteries you can actually put in it. Unless you're out there in some sunlight and using it, then it just won't work. They're actually working on better versions that will actually start to use shaking. So when you're getting places, you're, oh, damn, this thing, I can't get through. You're shaking it. That'll generate electricity as well. I'm not sure how well it goes if you throw it against the ground or throw it against a wall. I'm not sure if that's too much electricity generation then. But the idea of using the buttons and the combination of sunlight there will be enough to power the Game Boy. So great little idea for someone that might be using a Game Boy in places where they can't easily get batteries.
Very, very useful for people who are maybe get a little bit passionate about what they're doing.
Yeah, in the past, I can remember people playing some of those games going, don't hit the button so hard. Now it'll be hit the buttons harder.
Exactly. You have to try and teach your kids to work that one out.
That's right.
Now, how can a smartwatch help keep domestic violence victims safe?
It is actually pretty sad, Meg, that we even have a need for a smartwatch like this. Obviously, DV is a major issue in our society, in fact, across the world. And one of the issues that they found in the research is that if someone is in a situation where they feel like they may be threatened or there may be a domestic violence situation developing, if the first thing they do is ring the police, there's two problems with that. The police can't be there instantly. The police do a fantastic job, but they can't be there instantly. But the second thing is that sometimes the perpetrators of domestic violence, their level of antagonism goes up dramatically when they see a blue uniform. The idea of this smartwatch is if you feel like you're in a situation where there may be some developing DV or there may be something happening that you're not feeling comfortable with, you simply hit a button on your smartwatch, hold it down for a few seconds so that you don't bump it accidentally, and instead of ringing the police instantly, what it does is it actually contacts a group of people you've predefined. So it might be a neighbour, might be a relative, might be a friend, might be mum and dad, brother, sister, whatever. And the first thing it does is it actually creates a little conference call with all those people on your list, and they can actually hear what's happening. And then they can work out amongst themselves, because they can all talk to each other, they can work out what it might be. So it might be, hey Mary, you're next door, can you just go in and ask for a cup of sugar? It might be something as simple as that. So if there's something developing, knock on the door, oh, who's that? And someone's there, the neighbour, hi, I ran out of sugar, could I get some sugar please? That might be enough just to calm the situation down. Obviously, if things escalate, you can still ring the police with the smartwatch, so if it gets to that point where you really need the police. But the research has shown that having a family member, having a friend, having someone that's familiar with the people turn up on the doorstep is much more likely to calm the situation down. They can also hear what's going on, and if something has developed, that's also recorded so that you can actually have some evidence of what's occurred in that particular DV situation. So pretty sad that we need it, but a great development. There's a foundation called Stand By You, the letter U, not the word U, Stand By You Foundation if you want to find out more information on this particular bit of technology.
There you go. That sounds very interesting. I'm very intrigued by that idea, actually. I like it.
And look, smartwatches at the moment. In fact, I was out mountain biking last night and I fell off my bike, and of course my smartwatch automatically goes into a timer. Once it experiences a certain amount of shock, a certain number of Gs, and then I don't move and I lay there on the ground going, oh, you're an idiot. So I lay there, and then certainly my watch starts counting down a time before it would ring emergency services. So smartwatches have got some of those automatic features now, but again, that would have been more drastic. If I'd have been knocked out or in real trouble, then that would have been great for the ambulance to come and pick me up. But in the DV situation, again, there's some steps before we get to the point of calling police, I think, that can help quell that situation.
Exactly. I love it. Now, question number 5. Do you wipe your shopping trolley when you go to the supermarket?
That's a good question, Beck. Do you wipe your shopping trolley? When you get your shopping trolley, do you
Well,
wipe it?
I don't really use a shopping trolley.
You just use the basket.
I just use, I take my bags.
Ah, good work, good work.
Yes.
Yep.
We don't use plastic here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't had to do it because I don't use a shopping trolley.
So a lot of people do wipe their shopping trolleys. I mean, you're relying on the supermarket to a certain extent to wipe your trolleys over, to make sure that the trolleys are clean from the company's perspective. But when shoppers turn up, I've seen people there at the supermarket just wiping over the trolleys before they go. There's a new bit of technology that's been developed, and they're actually trialling it in Adelaide, probably not a bad place to trial it at the moment, and they're trying it in Adelaide. And effectively what you do is when the people bring up the shopping trolleys from the car park area, they wheel it through this little sanitizer. And what it does is it sprays a water-based germ-free disinfectant across the actual shopping trolleys so that you reel it in one side, it comes out the other side, it's been sprayed, it's then germ-free, no COVID-19 left on there at all, and then it's right to go. Shopping baskets, if people use those, they can sit in those trolleys, so when it goes through, they're also wiped clean. If this trial that they're doing at the moment proves to be successful, then they're going to roll it out across Australia. And the great part about it is, even though this technology has been developed overseas, the manufacturing of this particular unit will be done in Adelaide. So great to see some manufacturing in Australia. We don't have a lot of manufacturing in Australia at the moment, but if this is something that was manufactured in Australia, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, that actually is good because, you know, we want to keep the risk of it down as much as we can.
That's right, and I think there's a whole range of things there. Just having that point where you are wiping things, you're being sensible with it, you're not shaking hands, all those things help. But the shopping trolley, what a great way to spread COVID-19. Someone holds onto it, wheels it around, the next person grabs it, they don't know what's on that shopping trolley. So having it go through a process where it's automatically sanitised, they're not worrying about people having to make sure you wipe that one down. And sometimes when you wipe it down, you do worry about them wiping so many surfaces that they might be spreading some sort of virus around rather than actually cleaning it. But this sanitiser kit is designed to take away all those fears and basically have it clean as you go.
There you go. That was Matthew Dickerson with Tech Talk right here on DCFM 88.9. We're going to keep the music coming right your way. Coming up next, we have got Tim Finn. Don't go anywhere.